Thank you. I have to stand up if you're speaking there because I can't speak very well. I can't certainly think sitting down very well. It's wonderful to be in Malta. I actually haven't been to Malta before, although I planned many times on coming here on holiday with my family. We never actually got to come here, so it's great to be here. We were at the harbour this morning looking at that magnificent historic place, thinking about the history that is contained on this island, all the way back to the megalithic era, to the Phoenicians, the Romans, the Knights, and all that came, the great siege of Malta, the heroism of this island, the heroism that is still in living memory that this island showed during the terrible time that it suffered during the Second World War, and the spirit of the Maltese people. And you come here and you just look around, down in that harbour, the cathedral, and throughout the city, and this is Europe, all concentrated onto this island. It's our history. It was very interesting to find out that the Phoenician, the language of the ancient Phoenicians was deciphered, decoded from discoveries made here in Malta, where Latin and Phoenician were found side by side, where those cultures had lived together for some time in some kind of harmony. And there's such an infusion and mixture of culture here that it's an example for all of us as Europeans to see how this can be successful. And Malta, although like my own country, Ireland, is small, you've got a lot to offer. And it's very important that the people of Malta have a tool, a mechanism, to ensure that the voice of the Maltese is heard in a very effective way within the institutions of Europe. Because there are a few points that people unfortunately are not aware of in Malta. Certainly the general public isn't aware of. The general public probably isn't aware that the majority of laws passed in Malta now are all initiated in Brussels. The majority of people don't realise that when your government party and main opposition party agreed and did not even really debate the Lisbon Treaty, which is actually the European draft the European Constitution, they didn't even have a debate on it. It was ratified, and they agreed to create a President of Europe that will be your President, the President of the European Council as set out in the Lisbon Constitution. And this is going to be your President. And your President, as European citizens, will represent you on the global stage. But they never have to ask you for a vote. I believe here this morning that we have the elite of Maltese political journalism. I'm very privileged that you're all here. And it's interesting because here we have some of the most informed people on the subject of Malta within the European Union, and I think we would all agree that the majority of laws in Malta in the last couple of years were initiated in Brussels. And I'd ask you if you could name me 3 people that initiated the majority of laws in this country last year. Anybody have any answers or suggestions? And I know I'm not supposed to be the one asking the questions because I did this to your colleagues in Berlin and in Paris as well last week, those that initiated the laws. And it's interesting because nobody actually knows the answer to that question, so it's an unfair question. But the point is, and I could then go on and say, well, okay, just name me one person who initiated most of the laws that passed in Malta last year, and you can't do it. The fact is you don't know their names. You don't know what these people look like. You don't know who's lobbying them. You don't know why they're being lobbied. You don't know who's paying the lobbyist. You don't know the relationship between the lobbyist and that person who is initiating the law. And why don't you know? The reason you don't know is because today Brussels is one of the few places where you have to be unelected to be able to initiate law. You can't do it as a member of the European Parliament. You can't be in the European Parliament and be an elected member and initiate law, which is patently a ridiculous situation. So, if I can stand here in front of the elite of Maltese journalism, political journalism, and ask you who initiated most of your laws here last year and you can't answer the question, then we've all got a problem that we need to fix together. Because we are living in a post-democratic society. Because democracy is a system where you get to hold your lawmakers accountable at a ballot box. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's a very old-fashioned idea. Started in Greece 2,500 years ago. The other thing that the Lisbon Constitution does is it makes us all European citizens, which is a good thing. I want to be a European citizen. I feel European. I am European. It makes us a European citizen, and it also makes the laws of the Union supreme. It states categorically the laws of the Union shall have primacy over the laws of the member states. That means Malta, in your case. The laws of the Union have primacy, have supremacy over Maltese law. But for the first time ever, this constitution, this treaty, also makes you a citizen. So if you're in front of a judge in Europe, as a European citizen, all citizens are equal before the law, as it should be. Their laws are supreme. You are a citizen, subject to their laws. If there is something in Maltese law that contradicts European law wins every time. So Maltese law is subjugated. Maybe that's okay. But I would humbly suggest that if we are going to do this, and I think we should pull sovereignty, I think there are many good aspects and reasons to do that, then let's make sure that people exercising that power are accountable to us, all of us, at a ballot box somewhere. That they need to care about what you think. Because under this formula, if it comes to pass, of the Lisbon Treaty, democracy in Europe is finished. In reality, it will not exist. Because you cannot hold those people initiating law accountable at a ballot box.